Hi guys, and welcome to another part of the Jade Cream Factory animation tutorial series. So in this part, we are gonna start building out the environment. It's gonna be with mostly basic shapes like cylinders and cubes. So the first thing I wanna do is let's get our shortcuts on firstly. So I'm gonna create a new collection over here and name it environment. I'm also gonna put this in here and let me see. Let's delete this one. I'm gonna put the point light with the cameras, hide these ones, and also hide these ones. Like starting from scratch. We're gonna be in this collection for now. And let me see. Not sure if I will be using this because this can't be completely done without a reference anyways, but so before I begin I would like to also change the camera settings around here. We're gonna have this twisted 1080 1920 basically for Instagram reels, and everything we're going to do about the environment is basically primitive objects, as you can see, cylindrical shapes. So let's start off with the cylinder. I'll make the radius a little bit smaller, also reduce the depth. Not that small though. I'm gonna use this as a basic reference and we'll see how it looks there. So to create the fences, I'm basically gonna duplicate this face over here, separate it, and then I will go to edit mode. I'm gonna get half of this edge loops. I'm gonna shift this one, mesh, separate selection. Yeah, this one's not necessary. Okay, so now we'll have like half a cylinder. I think for the gate we also don't need this ones over here. And now I'm gonna extrude this edge upwards on the, not sure which axis is that one, to be honest. Okay, and then we can add a solidify modifier over here, increase the thickness slightly. We can also add a bevel modifier. Let me see how that looks. Here we go. Smooth. Okay, so now I'm gonna shift this one and I'm gonna rotate it around. No need to mirror it because it's practically like the same thing. Okay, this is the right position. This is where the conveyor belt is gonna like come off. So let me add a little bit of the other cylinders. Let's shape this Not this one. So these are like the pillars that are standing in the water, and this is like a cube extruded downwards for the tracks to pass. Let's give this a little bit of depth. Make sure they're not overlapping on the top or intersecting. And I'm gonna Alt D these ones, and the reason for that is because um, we don't need to like have a separate copy because we're not gonna be doing anything with the cylinders. So basically Alt D, if I'm not mistaken, what it does is it's like when you're rendering, the computer doesn't have to recalculate the same data over and over again. It's something like that. But if I'm mistaken, please feel free to like correct me in the comments. Basically, they're gonna be linked copies of each other. I also have pillars around here, like coming as a cross on each side. And now what we're gonna need here is a cube. Let me show you guys the reference. So this is the reference. So basically the pillars are inside the water. You also can't see the rest because of the perspective I've chosen, but we're going on that side as well. We have some ground over here. Basically this entire area is a large cube extruded downwards for the water mesh to be able to be seeable, visible on it. So yeah. So now I'm gonna go on the top view. I'm gonna select a cube. Let's turn it down a little bit. Bring this one close. Let me see. Let me try something else. We could also do this. We can just shift D those two faces and then do a separate selection and just grab this one. Let's bring the origin on the geometry. Extend this slightly. I think this is gonna be a bit better. And extrude this for, I don't know, as far as we can. Doesn't have to be that long, but let's keep it there for now. We'll see. Or maybe it's too long. Let's see. And then we can go on apply all transforms. And I'm gonna insert this faces. Actually, no. Sorry about that. I'm gonna add an edge loop here and an edge loop here. And we are gonna extrude these two faces slightly downwards. We'll see later on if we actually have to make that go a bit deeper, but let's delete these four faces here. I'm gonna select this, and this, and click fill. I'm going to isolate mode for a moment. This one's not really gonna be visible, but anyways. Okay, and then we can get this one and go to mirror X global. And now the curve should be from the other side. Yep. Let's bring it here. We're also missing some pillars on this side, so I'll do this one and this one. We'll see if we need to. This is probably already too long, like longer than it should have been, but that's okay. So to create the conveyor belt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the same cylinder over here. I'll shift this mesh. Do mesh separate again. Actually, I should have just created a circle, to be honest, because I don't even want the faces, so let me delete that. Okay. Here we go. The radius is gonna be approximately as much as this circle is, because we plan to keep the same path, let's say. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, let me go in isolate mode so you guys don't get confused. I'm gonna select all of these vertices and delete them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna convert this one to a curve. And then again, I'm gonna go in edit mode and extend this from both sides. This is where the conveyor belt is gonna be based on. So I'm gonna make another collection here and name this conveyor belt because these ones are gonna be animated later on and we don't wanna get confused too much. So bring this in here. I'll name this conveyor belt path for now. So let's bring this one here, and I'm also gonna make another cube. Make this one much smaller. Let's see, something like this. I'll also add a bevel modifier. You can like adjust this to your liking if you want them more rounded or more break shaped. Let's keep this for now because we're gonna test this a couple of times if I'm not mistaken. And what we're gonna do next is we are gonna add an array. This one we're gonna like add. Ooh, that's a lot, maybe around 150. Let's see how that is. And we can adjust the distance, as you can see. This is nice, 1.100, and then I'm gonna add a curve modifier, and I'm gonna select this one, the conveyor belt path curve, and as you guys can see, this is how the belt train tracks or whatever you want to call it are gonna be moving around. I'm gonna, like, it doesn't matter if let me give me a moment. Let me see something. Oh, okay, so this is gonna be this. I'll disable everything because it's doing a zigzag I wasn't expecting, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if, I think it's because I don't have enough subdivisions in here. Let me see something. I'm gonna convert this back to a mesh because it's slightly easier to do this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna come here and wait, add more cuts. Let's say I think a number of 14 should be enough for each side, because I think that's why it's deforming slightly differently than it should. I'm gonna convert this back to a curve and then go back here. Let's test this once more. Yeah, because it was going like a little bit more diagonal than I was expecting it to. And what we can also do is let me bring this up. I think we can also make the curve slightly smaller. Sorry about that, but I have to test it out. This is slightly better. Okay. I'm gonna give this sort of lime green color for now. I'm gonna name this track cube. Now because I applied the geometry bit, the level changed, so suppose we're gonna do slightly manually. This could have been a little bit bigger as well. So we can just drag this upwards slightly. I wasn't gonna like manual bevel this, but oh, let me see. This is gonna be way too heavy for my PC though. Yeah. This is so fun. You know what? Let's just this is so fun. Let's just do this. So we'll look a little bit more rounded. Okay now. Sorry for disabling it so many times, but to create the fences over here, we're also gonna go in edit mode over here, and I'm gonna, oh, we can do the same thickness, which is cool. So I'm gonna get those two, and I'm gonna 50 them again, do mesh, separate by selection, and then I'm gonna grab them, find them. Let's just hide this one because we're gonna spend ages. And I'll get that, extrude upwards. So this is gonna be glass later on this one as well, and we can also just grab this, do object, mirror, excludable, bring them over on this side, and we're like halfway through, I believe. We can also add some sort of bevel. Then there's another cylinder over here, just where like the refill parts are gonna be rotating on. So I'm gonna get this one, I'm gonna duplicate it, bring it upwards, make it smaller. Let me see what we have now. I think it looks a little bit short comparison to the original, so I'm just gonna make this slightly taller, and we'll see later if it has to be adjusted again. Let me save this. So originally over here I had like a wall. Doesn't have to be so huge, but let's put it somewhere around here. And I also had a cube for the floor, covering this space. I had a little bit of depth, I suppose. I'm just gonna add a solidify modifier over here. Oh. And if we suppose that the layer is somewhere around there, then so around this area, we're gonna have one loop cut around here, one somewhere around here, one somewhere around here, and I'm gonna extrude this downwards. I'm also gonna duplicate that face separated, and I'm gonna extrude this upwards. This is what we're gonna texture as our water shader. And from the Luxoid, we should also have another cylinder somewhere around there or here. Oh no, okay, so see. I think this should have been like a lot more upwards. Yeah. But let's keep this over there and I'll just get this face and pull it upwards a bit so they don't intersect. And let me see. I think let's try to do the water shader now. So for this one, we are going to add a mask grape texture, then click Control T so that we get the texture coordinate and the mapping. And then we are gonna need a bump node. We're gonna plug the height on the height over here, and then the normal on the normal over here. Let me get the color codes from another file. So as you can see, it's starting to show up. Let's bring the scale up. Turn this to 4D firstly. I don't know, we could go around 60, I suppose. But not that much. Let's also set a different color on the emission. I promise you guys it's gonna look better in a bit. Let's bring down the strength here. And I'm gonna bring this down as well. So we're also gonna need two mixed shader nodes. So I'm gonna duplicate these ones. We're gonna need a light path, a transparent node, and a glossy node. And we're gonna connect the transparent on the top part over here, the glossy on the other one, and then the shader over here, as well as this one over here, and the camera ray right around here. We're gonna turn the reference down. I'm also gonna get some other color nodes over here. And I'm also going to turn on the roughness of this one, and now it's looking way much better. We can also add a volume absorption and plug it over here. We can bring the intensity up. You guys can see the difference over here. The color is changing. All right, let me just double check everything one more time. Depending on how much shrink you put here, you can see that like the wave kind of shape gets like a little bit harsher. I don't like it like this, to be honest, so I keep it low. Nice stuff. I might actually change the colors again later. We'll see. So back to the environment. We're only missing the top piece over here right now, so let me bring up my references. I'm going to disable this one and this one and bring back the product day cream. And let's just move all of this a bit on the side. So I'm gonna create a model duplicates. I'm just gonna like, I want to keep this one clean. I don't want to like mess it up, so I'm just gonna keep this as the main reference backup point or whatever, and we're gonna like duplicate this one for later use. So let me see if I can get that right. Sometimes when I try to copy most of the time, the groups over here, I'm missing out on stuff. So let's bring one around here. And I'm gonna put it around here and disable that one. And let's see if we indeed got everything we needed. I believe that, yes. So I only need this piece right now, so we're gonna duplicate this one. And since this is gonna be like part of the environment, I'm gonna bring it in here and disable that one as well. Might need to adjust this again later when we add like the what do we call them? Like the cream cups. Slightly larger. Let's bring it down a bit. And then for this part over here, we're also gonna have another fence. So I'm gonna shift D, duplicate these ones, bring them upwards, and also make the size smaller. Nice. Let me see how this is going to look if I sorry about that. We got a little bit of glass around there. Let me see something. I think I'm seeing a mild difference, so I'm just gonna unplug this altogether for now. Originally I had used Daggett 3D materials for this glass one. There's also a free version if you guys want to check those out. They're very nice. So the environment is like almost wrapped up. Let me see. Hmm. This is sort of the angle I have on the original take. You can change that later if you want. What I'm seeing over here is that this one is popping out somewhere where is it intersecting or is the lighting? It's the lighting. Okay. There's just one part left, but depending on the angle, like it could be placed somewhere around here. Let me see. It's where like the creams are gonna pass under, and like first coming around this way, they're gonna be like the jar is gonna be empty, and after it passes through that sealing thingy, cube kind of thing, it's gonna come out with a cup and cream inside. But I need to see how that one was in the past. It's situated somewhere around here. So I'm gonna take these two with this. Yeah, let's take these two faces and then select Shift D to duplicate, hit escape, and then go to mesh separate selection. And let's find this guy now. Kind of hard, so I'm gonna hide this one. I'll call this one roof or something, anything, so that we can just find it more quickly. And I'm gonna set the origin back to the geometry. And let's see. I'm gonna try this and see if it's working first. So I'm gonna extrude this along like the initial axis. You can also go to face, extrude faces along your mouse and drag this out. It's the same thing. Bring this around here. And then I'm gonna hide this thing for now, which, yeah, we're gonna like have to sort some stuff out later, but let's see. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna add an edge loop around here and another one around here at the end and also near the top. And actually, let's not do the bottom for now and delete those two faces completely. And here we go. And I believe we can kind of reach this now. Maybe. Actually, it's not necessary because we can't really look at it, but I think I'm gonna we can give it a solidify modifier or keep it as it is. Let me see, are we on the right angle? Kind of. I think the camera should have been like slightly like this. And then we're gonna be showing that empty part, so let's keep it like this for now. We can do some adjustments later, maybe even move the we can just move everything on this side if we have to later on. I think it's okay for now. I don't think that even with the solidify modifier, like, it would be noticeable, but So I think this is it for now, guys. And the only part that remains is animating the creams. So basically we're just gonna like duplicate this once and create another color variation. We're gonna put some on this part right here and make it rotate, and we're gonna animate the jars along this line. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.